On the next episode of Melanated Artist in Performance, today I had a great conversation with Dr. Tremon Kizer from the University of Central Florida. He serves as the Associate Director of Bands, Director of Athletic Bands, and Associate Professor of Music. Our conversation consisted of the journey of how he got started, his family support system, and how his family trusted his choice in pursuing music education. He talked about his first job teaching in the rural area of western Kansas, and sometimes that included subtle things of what it's like being black living and teaching in that area. We also talked about his research work on Ulysses S.Kay as a African American composer, and finally we talked about what he's most proud of as an educator and what is next on the horizon for him in the future. Join me on another great episode of Melanated Artist in Performance. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to everybody, and welcome to another great episode of Melanated Artist in Performance. And today I will be speaking with Dr. Tremon Kizer, who is a professor at University of Central Florida, where he serves as the Associate Director of Bands, Director of Athletic Bands, and the Associate Professor of Music, where he conducts the UCF Symphonic Band, as well as mentoring his future music educators. So I cannot wait to have a great discussion with him and just talk about his origin story. And we're going to get started. So thank you.
Oh, thank you. It's a pleasure and honor to be here. And thank you very much for allowing me to come in and allow us just to have a nice round robin chat.
Yeah, yeah. We're going to get started with where you grew up, a little bit of your background.
So, so I grew up most of my years in Missouri and Kansas, which was a wonderful foundation for me. I learned a lot of things about myself when I grew up in those two states and completely different states,
Okay.
which was also fun to engage with the different people, engage with the different cultures, engage with different mindsets, personalities. And
Hmm.
it really was the foundation of helping me get where I am now. So I grew up, my earlier years was more in Kansas City.
Okay.
So from as little as I can remember all the way until my sixth grade year, I lived there. And so when I lived in that area, I was able to experience a lot of different types of people and a lot of
Hmm.
different types of cultures. And I also lived in different parts of Kansas City. So that allowed
Okay.
me to have even more appreciation for the different type of people and cultures that I got a chance to hang out with. I would say that throughout my early years, music was very unique. I would say,
Mhm.
music in the classroom back then in those days, you didn't go to a music classroom. The teacher that had the cart
Yeah. Yeah.
would would come in, and you would sometimes have do music in the classroom, and sometimes if there was a field trip within the school, you would go to the library, and
Yeah.
that is where there would be some choir risers set up.
Okay.
And then the performance would be in the library instead of there being an auditorium.
Hmm.
So um, so it was fun engaging in that way. But then when I got to fifth grade, when I played my primary instrument, it was in a storage room where we had our where we you know where we had our practices.
Hmm.
So so I was able to experience quite a bit,
Hmm.
when I lived in Missouri. And then when I moved to Kansas, my seventh grade year, it was a completely different type of experience. Um,
Okay.
I feel that that is when I started to get a hold more of what music was, just from a playing perspective, and from a band, um, from an idea of what a band was, at
Hmm.
that point. Because
Hmm.
before then, music was what I heard on the radio.
Okay.
I had a little pink radio in my bedroom, and I would listen to the Quiet Storm, um, you know, late at night. And I thought,
Yeah.
and I thought that's what music was. That was, that was part of my upbringing. So I was, that soothed me and put me to sleep each night around 10:30 p.m. or so. Listening to the Quiet Storm. uh,
Okay.
so I would say I grew up in those two areas in Kansas, Missouri, and then been blessed to be able to move around a little bit and see a few more things.
Okay. So then when did the interest of you playing an instrument, when did that occur?
Yeah, I would say that started probably my fifth grade year
Okay.
when when there was a band director that came into our classroom and said, "Hey, if you want to play an instrument, come and talk to me."
Hmm.
All I knew was I got a chance to get out of the classroom. That's all I knew. They
Okay.
had me sold at that.
Okay.
So so we went and visited with this music teacher, and there were about 4 or 5 of us, I think,
Hmm.
that were interested in being in band. And
Okay.
so we had this sign up, and we signed up and went home, told mom. Mom said, "Okay, great. I played flute when I was a kid, so you can play flute."
Okay.
So I said, "Okay, great. I'll go to school the next day, and when it's time for us to pick our instruments, I will pick the flute." And
Uh-huh.
so that next day, I went to school, got in trouble for some reason, and I had to go to the back of the line to pick an instrument.
Mm.
And so by the time it got to me, the only two instruments that were left was trombone and French horn. And I chose the trombone because the case looked like a bazooka, and and my
Yep.
name was close, and my name was close enough to it. So, and the case was almost as tall as I was.
Okay. Now that's an interesting interesting story how it got picked for you because of what was left over.
Hmm.
And that's I don't know, that sounds like such a typical like what a boy would do. Just,
Oh
you know,
yes.
it looks like a bazooka, it's close to my name, it's like yeah.
Yeah,
Um
there were no music tests where you had to, either sight sing or figure out, what your three options were, or what your physiology was, or
mhm,
how long the arm was, or
mhm.
short your fingers were. No, it was just you get in line, and you got the pick. So,
Right, right.
but I mean, but I really was very appreciative during that time because the band director was very accommodating,
Mhm,
and he was also a traveling teacher, so
mhm.
he would go to 5 or 6 different schools
Okay,
over the course of the week. So the only time we saw him was when it was time for band. Unfortunately, he wasn't within the school fabric at all,
okay.
and I think that would have made a significant difference in the
Mhm,
way we played, the way we went about, um, just development overall.
mhm,
But it was still a blessing to be able to have band in an inner city school, especially
mhm,
elementary school, where
mhm.
it was on the verge of being closed down anyway. So
Okay.
I'm just glad for some of those opportunities.
Yeah, that's good because you started in fifth grade and I started in seventh grade because the city where I'm in, because I grew up in Milwaukee, that's typically, and I don't know if it's like that now. Seventh grade is when people got started. So we were so far behind like our suburban counterparts who were starting like fourth, fifth, sometimes even third, depending on how the school district was. So the city, we had a lot to catch up on if we wanted to be equal to the suburban kids because we started so late.
Hmm.
Uh, so that's good. I started in fifth grade. So
Yeah,
now,
so now, just to piggyback off that for just a second, I know there's a lot of people that think that if students start in third grade, fourth grade, fifth grade, it's going to make a difference. overall. And then in some areas it will make a significant difference based upon how the district is set up,
Mm-hmm.
especially with especially with some smaller districts. So for instance, in my first teaching position, in Western Kansas, fifth grade band, there was fifth grade band and there was sixth grade band, and it met every single day. So because it met every single day, by the time they got to middle school, it was no problem.
Mm-hmm.
But but there's other programs in that exact same state where you would have fifth grade band and sixth grade band and maybe twice a week.
Yep.
And if middle school is considered seventh grade,
Yep.
if you don't start playing continuously, playing every day in
Mm-hmm.
seventh grade,
Mm-hmm.
that's really tough. So
Yeah. Yeah.
so I do think it does depend upon each district and the circumstances, and I think that's where us as music teachers can come in and be that impact with
Mm-hmm.
advocating
Mm-hmm.
having band every day,
Yep.
so that students have that fighting chance for when they get to seventh grade, eighth grade, especially high school.
Yeah. Yeah. So now, as you are fifth grade, traveling now through middle school, high school, when did it music become a deeper, like something you wanted to really pursue? When did that happen?
Well, I knew I wanted to play. I
Okay.
didn't know I wanted to pursue it as a major
Hmm.
or be a band director per se. I
Hmm.
just knew that I just wanted just to continue to play. So I knew that when I got to college, it was a no brainer for me to play.
Hmm.
Um, so I didn't know if it was going to be music performance or if it was going to be something completely different because I had different interests going to college. But
Okay.
when it started to really click for me that I really wanted to play was probably my sophomore year in high school
Okay.
when all the way up to that point I did baseball for a little bit. I was in wrestling for a little bit. Um, and then I just did this band thing because it was fun and it was also during the day, and it was an
Uh-huh.
easy A,
Uh-huh.
which I thought until I failed band my eighth grade year first quarter. That's a whole other story, but but uh, I knew it was my sophomore year. Uh, that was when I started to practice a little bit more. That's
Hmm.
where I started to understand that there is this community called the band room that was always open,
Hmm.
um, every single day. So I found myself in there practicing for an hour and a half, couple hours,
Okay.
and I didn't even know what practicing looked like. All I knew was that I was playing. All I knew was that there was this all state audition
Hmm.
that would come up, and that there was these solo and ensemble activities
Yep.
that would pop up, and
Hmm.
so I just found myself just preparing for those things, and those things were fun. It hurt, but I mean, but it was fun because I it hurt because I didn't know how to practice. I just knew that I was playing.
Okay.
So
So
over the
while
course of
you're
that time.
doing this, were you was your teacher like, was it more of a one-on-one or after school thing? Was your teacher encouraging you to do all this, or was this like self-motivated? And did you um, get into like private lessons or anything, or know anything about that at the time?
Yeah, so when I was going through high school, my one of my high school band directors, his primary instrument was piano, and a
Okay.
secondary instrument was trombone. So he would occasionally help out, maybe once a week,
Hmm.
provide some insight if he was there after school.
Hmm.
Um, so I started to learn a little bit more about practice then, as well
Hmm.
as what warm up looked like. And sometimes he would take his instrument out, and we would play together, and that was very impactful.
Hmm.
Um, and I think that because of the work ethic that I had in it, he knew that there was something more that I wanted to get.
Okay.
So he continued to work with me. Um, as far as lessons were concerned, couldn't afford lessons.
Okay.
So it really was just self
Okay.
that was that was really driving a lot of that throughout high school. Now I
Okay.
was very fortunate to where I had the opportunity my senior year to study or to take private lessons with a trombone professor at the school I ended up going to for my undergrad,
Hmm.
and I would go to his studio once a week on campus, and he would say, "Okay, your lesson is free, but if you're not prepared, it's $50."
Oh wow.
And
Okay.
and for me, no, I couldn't afford $50, nor could I
Right.
go to my parents and say, "Hey, can I have $50 because I wasn't prepared?"
Right. Yeah.
That
Right. Right.
so I made sure that I was prepared every single lesson, and that was when I really started to understand more about what this whole trombone thing is.
Hmm.
And throughout that time, I got the opportunity to play a solo with our high school orchestra. Um, I got the opportunity to, of course, be involved in the our jazz ensembles, be involved in all of our brass groups and um, brass quintets and everything else. So it really started to consume my life much more than I thought it would, as
Hmm.
well as trying to have a job at the same time. Um,
Right.
trying to manage all those things, and also coming from a home where there was a lot of us in the house, it
Hmm.
was also it was a blessing to be able to do those types of things. Uh, so because I was able to be a role model to my other siblings on what
Hmm.
activities can look like.
Okay. Okay. Where are you in the lineup of your siblings?
Let's see, there's seven of us,
Okay.
so I am the second oldest.
Okay. Okay. So yeah, you definitely were in the role model position.
Oh yes. So there's a lot of babysitting going on and a lot of changing diapers and a lot of everything in between.
Okay.
But the great thing is by the time we got to high school, um, a lot of activities that I was doing with music took off more to where I was out of the house a little bit more than I thought I would be.
Okay. 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 So now, as you are in high school, and let's say maybe college is thoughts and the options and things like that, what was the home support like as far as if this is something that you wanted to pursue in college?
Well, that's a great question. I think with my family, they were very supportive of whatever field I wanted to go into.
Okay.
When it came to music, music was an area where they knew a little bit of, at least on
Hmm.
the singing side a little bit, but when
Okay.
it came to the instrumental side, just not sure at all.
Hmm.
So it was me more of taking the lead on what I was going to be doing in college with instrumental music, and family just supporting whatever that was from an emotional standpoint, from a physical standpoint,
Hmm.
and they just continue just to encourage. They never put the brakes on it.
Okay.
When I was in college or even later high school, they just
Okay.
knew that it was something that I was continuously cultivating. And I think
Okay.
I think my parents realized that for each of us, whatever our ambition is, we just go after that
Hmm.
and not be apologetic about it.
Hmm.
And that's one of the things I try to encourage all of our music students. Well, all the students that I teach here is
Hmm.
whatever your ambition is, no one can tell you that you can't do it.
Hmm.
Just allow yourself just to go at it with reckless abandon,
Hmm.
and and just live it out the way you think or the way
Right.
you feel. But just
Right.
also make sure as you're going through that, allow us to be your safety net every now and then.
Hmm.
And I think that's what my parents did for me when I was in
Okay.
college. They never they never stopped or asked. They didn't even ask questions
Okay.
about about what I was doing or how I was doing it, or
Okay.
they never combated and gave another point of view. They
Hmm.
just allowed me just to go.
I think that that's great because I know sometimes in our culture, just with the way things are, sometimes being in survival mode, and then you get that child that has like interest, but then sometimes our families have a tendency to be like practical. Is this going to be something you can survive on? Something that you can actually, provide if you have a family? Will you be able to provide for your family? Because even though we're very culturally, musically educated and rich, because that's just a part of who we are, I think sometimes the since we don't know, like didn't quite know, they didn't stop you. I think sometimes you're kind of like, okay, you got to get a real job. You know,
Yeah,
being a musician actually could be something that is just like, we can see stuff on TV and we might know, Uncle Joe might play something down the street, but can you really do something with it? So I think, I think that's great for your parents to just, they trusted you and allowed you to do what needed to be done and watched to see what was
right.
going
Yeah, and I really do think that's important for within the culture that we live in, because sometimes, well, most of the time we don't know what's going on in
on.
our kids' brains.
Hmm.
We don't know what their thoughts are. We don't know what the greatest discovery that they might have, that
Hmm.
they might be able to cultivate, and then over the course of 30, 40 years, it becoming something that's a change agent for
Hmm.
society.
Hmm.
So for my parents to have the trust in me to just go and just be,
Hmm.
I really do think, it helped overall. I think with my parents, what they were looking for, if there was any type of expectation, was
Hmm.
just for me to contribute to society, for me
Yep.
to be the best version of who I'm supposed to be, whatever
Hmm.
that's supposed to be,
Hmm.
and just contribute to society in some way to make a difference, regardless of the job, regardless of the scope, regardless
Hmm.
of degrees or degree or lack thereof.
Hmm.
That's what it was about. And I'm very fortunate that I was able to see that from my parents.
Okay.
Growing up, I got the chance to see them go through college. I got a
Okay.
chance to see them walk the stage with their with their first degree,
Hmm.
and I think that also made a difference into why I even went to college.
Okay.
Because it was one of those things where, okay, if they did it, then that means I'm supposed to do it.
Right.
And I mean, I remember in seventh grade, that was when my mom started college.
Okay.
Working on her bachelor's degree, and there was this class called college algebra, and just coming home and trying to study your college algebra, and at that time, I had never heard of the word algebra. So the
Uh-huh.
fact that she was in something this college algebra, which I mean we all know now is a like an intro math course in college. I mean
Hmm.
that was monumental for me,
Okay.
and um, and so that helped me have a better sense of work ethic when it came to academics, when it
Hmm.
came to wanting understanding that I needed to excel a little bit more in those particular areas, even if there
Okay.
was this interest in music.
Okay.
So so at the end of the day, I'm glad that they allowed me just to experiment, allowed me to just go and be, but also
Hmm.
know that if there was anything that I ever needed, or if I got myself into a jam, that they would be there to support. Maybe not financially,
Hmm.
but they would be able to give insight and pray.
Yeah. Yep. Yep. So now, as we are exiting high school and getting ready to go into college, did you go into college with the idea of you wanted to be continue to be a musician? Was it a thing of like I still just want to play, or did you want to pursue other things while playing?
Yeah, so it really was a start for me just to play. And I
Okay.
did take some music classes at the same time, but when I started out, I wasn't sure if truly music was where I wanted to be. I mean,
Okay.
I toyed around a little bit with business finance a little
Hmm.
bit. So I worked for a financial company for a little bit when I was in college as well, thinking, okay, I might go in that direction,
Hmm.
if this thing works out, but I'm also playing my instrument at the same time. And then I'm
Hmm.
also studying for my insurance license and,
Well, you
just,
got a lot going on.
yeah, just doing a wide variety of things. And
Okay.
so, uh, and, but at the end of the day, I think it was the music just kept coming back to me. And, and I knew I wanted to do something with music eventually,
Hmm.
when I realized that, this whole business and finance thing isn't for me, um, I know I want to do something with music, and I just had to figure out if it was going to be education or if it was going to be performance. And and then I realized there was going to be some type of education because I always enjoyed working with kids,
Okay.
working with elementary school kids, working with high school kids. So that's why I decided I was going to teach.
Hmm.
But at the same time, I had an interest in history. So I thought maybe I would be a history teacher while still
Okay.
playing.
Okay.
But then there is this thing called reality and graduation and credit loads and all of that. So since I had more music classes than I did history classes, and also at that point, I had taken quite a few science classes as well, and
Okay.
and a business class or two. I figured I would just go and do music education.
Okay.
So my degree is actually a bachelor's of science in music ed
Okay.
because of the amount of science and math credits I had.
Okay. Okay. So that common denominator always was music, while you had other things going
Hmm.
on. So that's um that's interesting that you had that math and that science and the history. It's like you were still trying to figure it out. The music was always like the main thing you went
Oh yes, ever since I was a little kid with that pink radio,
back.
and I guess even when I was in my mother's room, my mom would talk about how she would listen to jazz,
Okay.
and listen to classical music every now and then,
Hmm.
before she would go to sleep. And
Okay.
so it was always I was always listening to it in
Okay.
some way. So
Okay.
so you're right. There is that music, regardless of whatever industry or whatever line of profession I was in,
Hmm.
music was going to always be there.
Okay. Yeah. That's good. My mom set you up. She set you up.
I will let her know that this Wednesday when I go visit.
So now, as exiting out of college, um, you're a music major. You wanna teach music. So now, what was your first job like?
So my first job, oh my goodness, I am so glad that they were so. I'll just say this: if I had the resources, I would actually give them back my first year's salary, or after everything that I have learned.
Okay.
So my first teaching job was first professional full time teaching job was teaching 5 through 12 instrumental music in
Mm.
Western Kansas, Goodland, Kansas. Love the town. I'm still trying to get my spouse to go visit it with me, but has not yet. Um, Town has 4 or 5 thousand people. It
Okay.
is in extreme Western Kansas. It is about 3.5 hours away from the nearest airport, major airport. It is 140 miles away from the closest university. It
Okay.
is 35 miles away from the nearest grocery store. I mean, it is.
Wow. That's
It
an
is.
experience.
Oh yes. Oh, it is. And being an African American, going and teaching in somewhere that's very remote like that, um, I didn't know any better. So,
Hmm.
and the great thing is that my parents didn't tell me anything different. My parents just knew, like, okay, you're leaving, and you're going to be 300 some miles away from home, in
Hmm.
this small town.
Hmm.
Okay, make it work. So,
So what
but
was that like? Being like you said, being an African American in that setting.
yeah, it was. I didn't think about it,
Okay.
to be honest with you, and I think with any environment I'm in where I might be one of a few,
Hmm.
I normally don't think about it. It really doesn't come across my mind because I'm so focused on taking care of whatever community I'm in, or taking
Hmm.
care of whatever students that need support.
Hmm.
I've always been in a servant type of. I've always been a servant type of person.
Okay.
So it really was never about, oh, how do I feel about this or how do I feel about that? But it was
Hmm.
more of, okay, what can I learn to help this program get
Okay.
better?
Okay.
What can I do to help this community
Hmm.
be the best to be the best community possible?
Hmm.
Whether it was me being at that elementary school in the afternoon working with the fifth and sixth grade kids, or me
Hmm.
being at the junior high working with the seventh, eighth grade kids, or with me being at the high school taking care of the high school students.
Okay.
you
Okay.
know, so it really was more about that.
Hmm.
And I don't the schedule was so busy where I really also didn't get time to process or think about it.
Hmm.
All I knew was that, okay, I have an oboe player, or I have two oboe players, and I have no idea how to play oboe. Okay, let
Okay.
me figure this out. Okay, clarinets are struggling, so let me get out the clarinet and let me challenge them and
Hmm.
tell them they failed a class if I play this part better than them, being a trombone
Hmm.
player.
Hmm. Okay.
Or, okay, we don't have enough people in town to teach privately, so let me teach private lessons after school
Okay.
to help out our students.
Okay. How long did you remain in that particular community?
I was there for 3 years.
Okay.
I was there for 3 years, and each year there was an opportunity to leave
Okay.
and do something else. But
Okay.
after my first year, I didn't want to leave because it was a good group of students. It
Hmm.
was overall a good group of band parents.
Hmm.
I had good administrators who were very accommodating and very patient with me,
Hmm.
and and it really was one of those communities where they I think that they understood more of the culture than I did.
Okay.
So, for example, I did the interview, and when I did the interview, they actually paid for me to come out and interview, which I thought was just common. I had no
Oh,
idea that wasn't common.
okay.
So they paid for my hotel, they paid for my gas, they even gave me groceries on the way for me to take back home with me.
Oh yeah, they
Um,
want. Okay.
and and the superintendent even came to the interview
Yeah, they wanted you for sure.
to a small part of the interview.
Hmm.
And um, the superintendent actually talked to me about the community and the culture, and actually asked me his only question, which,
Hmm.
he was a former football coach, um, good guy, Marvin Selby, great people.
Hmm.
He said, I want you to understand. I want you to understand what you're coming into, because there's not very many African Americans. There's not very many families here. Um, there might you might run into challenges here and there just because our community is not used to seeing a African American teacher.
Mm-hmm.
Are you Do you feel that you would be comfortable in an environment where there are very, very few people who look like you?
Mm-hmm.
I'm a 22-year-old. Like, sure.
Yep. I'm gonna change the world. Yeah.
so so I was very fortunate where I just didn't know better,
Mm-hmm.
and it wasn't until when I when I left the position, when I started to see and understand what he was talking about.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, very small, subtle things, very small, such as being followed on my way
Mm-hmm.
home,
Mm-hmm.
um, just because people want to know where I lived, or um, my I didn't have a dryer, so sometimes would put my clothes out on the laundry, um
The laundry
laundry.
rag.
Yes, yes, yes.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe I shouldn't do that anymore. um just, I mean, things that you, or even going to the grocery, going to the local Walmart.
Mm-hmm.
When I went to the local Walmart, I was always in polo shirt and khaki pants, still, dressed nicely. The things I need, that is appropriate to be in a shopping cart,
Mm-hmm.
for me, making sure I do that. But also knowing that when you go to, if you wherever you go, it's going to be probably a 2-hour trip, even though it
Mm.
takes about 6 minutes to get there because the amount of parents you're going to see.
Mm. Okay. Oh wow, I didn't even think of that. Yeah. Okay.
So, or the amount of extra activities you go to, if
Mm-hmm.
you're trying to go and support a student
Mm-hmm.
that's playing a solo in church,
Mm-hmm.
or that is becoming an Eagle Scout, or
Mm-hmm.
something.
Yep.
There was all sorts of activities. Um,
Right.
even I mean, even jogging with the cross country team every now and
Okay.
then.
Okay. Yeah, I mean those communities. Well, I can't say those communities because it when you um, establish a rapport with a community, whether it be rural or even city or suburban, and the kids like you and the parents like you, yeah, you are going to run into parents that ask you to come to things. You're going to go support them. So yeah, that because that's your and that's your where your heart is because you want to support people. So yeah, that's um, typical and normal. You care about your students. I appreciate the fact that and was just honest straight up with you as far as how when you interviewed, are you going to feel comfortable? Because some people are going to say no. Thank you, peace.
Hmm.
Wow. But with your young self, and it's like, okay, well, let's try this and see what happens. And so you got that experience.
Oh yeah. Sometimes, at least I throughout my life, sometimes for me being naive was better than not being aware,
Hmm.
or was better than being aware from time to
Hmm.
time. And I think with even with the students that we teach here, um, sometimes it's okay for them to be naive. Sometimes it's okay for them to just experience and engage,
Hmm.
challenge,
Hmm.
and see what happens. I think sometimes the older we get, the more guardrails we put up, and
Hmm.
sometimes I think those guardrails do get us in trouble.
Hmm.
So I was just very fortunate that the first, truly the first half of my teaching career was just me being naive.
Okay.
After my third year teaching in Western Kansas, there was opportunity to be a director of bands at a small 2-year school,
Okay.
and I had no idea that in order to be a director of bands at a college, you should have a master's or at least a doctorate. had no idea that I was going to be going into the position with just a bachelor's degree, and overseeing a jazz program and a marching program and a wind band program, and
Mhm.
doing honor bands in my mid 20s,
Mhm.
and doing bowl games, overseeing bowl experiences, with this college band program. No idea that I should not be doing that. With just a bachelor's degree.
So now that totally leads into my next question. So after your this third year, and so now let's just fast forward to later on in life, or maybe your when did you get the idea and thought of, okay, now I need to pursue a master's and then later on a PhD?
I think I realized that I need to get a master's degree when I didn't know, when I started to feel like I didn't know enough
Okay.
teaching the college students.
Okay.
and and I always thought that, I always thought that music was going to be one of those things I always did. I just didn't
Mhm.
think it was going to be a profession.
Okay.
So when I was in my college teaching position, I was also doing some things when it came to student development,
Okay.
and helping students in their personal lives, and helping them academically.
Hmm.
So I thought about getting a master's degree in college student personnel,
Okay.
or or what was the other one? It was I think it was like educational leadership.
Okay.
So I was gonna get a master's degree in that. So I really thought that that I was gonna be completely finished with music, but just play my instrument, but get a master's degree in that area.
Hmm.
Until one of my mentors said, you can always you can always go and be an administrator at a university and do all of that type of stuff. Um, Once you go into that whole ed leadership, college student personnel, you can never go back into music or teach music. But it will always be an option for you if you get a master's in music. And
Hmm.
so I said, okay, well, I'll go learn a little bit more on,
Okay.
with this music thing, understanding that I want to eventually be a university president, or
Okay.
go into upper administration
Okay.
eventually. So
Hmm.
so that's when I went and got a master's degree in music, while at the same time being a part-time assistant high school band director.
Okay.
and then um, and then after doing that for a couple of years, then that's when I went into my next college teaching position,
Okay.
where I got a chance to um, be a lecturer and teach music ed, teach a couple of non-music major courses, also oversee a concert band and marching band, and really open the scope of this whole this whole college professor life,
Hmm. Hmm.
in a
You,
way. So
it's interesting how you keep trying to deviate away from the music a little bit, and then the music brings you right back. Like, well, okay, I'll try this. I'll try this, and then it's like you go right back into the music thing. So
yep, you go right back into it.
you gotta follow that track. God keeps bumping you back into the music thing, and you're like, well, let me try. Nope, he's going right back.
Oh, exactly. Oh, yes. He always knows what he's doing. So I might as well just, just follow along with it. So, but the great thing about all of our journeys, and I try to talk to our students about this when it comes to journey, is that everybody's journey is going to be so unique, and
Hmm.
so there's no cookie cutter way
Yep.
to become that choral director, or become that particular university professor.
Hmm.
We all have a unique journey, and that unique journey hopefully is going to be inspiration for somebody else.
Hmm.
Not maybe not for them to do the exact thing that you did, but it gives them the courage to take their journey.
Hmm. Hmm.
So then that becomes their testimony.
Yeah.
And And with me, there were some things I thought that I needed to do, but before I can do them. I told myself, okay, by this age I would do this, by that age I would do that, by that age I will everything, but none
Hmm.
of it worked out,
Yeah.
or
Right.
none of it, none of those things happened. It
Hmm.
either happened much much earlier than I thought it was going to be, or
Hmm.
it would happen slightly later
Okay.
than when I thought it would be.
Okay.
But that was okay.
Um, as you are so how many college positions did you have before the current one that you're in?
Two.
Two. Okay. Um, how long did you spend at each one?
So my first position at Coffeyville College, that was 3 years. And
Okay.
then after that, I went and got my master's degree, which was a couple of years. And then from there, I went to the University of Dayton.
Okay.
And that was such a unique opportunity for me. I was there for 3 years, and then I was granted a 2-year leave of absence
Okay.
to go work on my doctorate, or at
Okay.
least to get all the coursework done for my doctorate. And so
Hmm.
after my 2 years of coursework, I was still considered on faculty at the University of Dayton. So then I went back to the University of Dayton, taught for a year while finishing a dissertation at the same time.
Okay.
And then after that, I left and went to UCF.
Okay. Okay. So then how was the transition from Dayton to UCF where you currently are?
Yeah, it was, you go from one institution that is a private institution with the University of Dayton, and there's a
Hmm.
great institution,
Hmm.
wonderful institution.
Hmm.
And going from there, where the college population is 10,000
Uh-huh.
for undergrad and grad, to a university that has over 70,000 students and so many different academic programs.
Hmm.
Uh, the the great thing is that regardless of where you go, the music student is roughly the same. It's like when it comes to personality, when it
Okay.
comes to those quirks of flute players think like this, or clarinet
Hmm.
players think like that, and
Hmm.
that seems to be very universal.
Hmm.
Um, but the only thing that was different was down here was just scope.
Okay.
Was scope, and also this position being a tenure track position, because the previous position wasn't tenure track. Um, this one involves a little more research, creative activity. There's an
Hmm.
expectation of you doing different types of um, all counties or all states, or national, international type of engagement activities,
Hmm.
creating music, really putting the program from a performance standpoint on a platform.
Hmm. How do you, or let me go back, I'm reading the wrong question. Who are your most influential music mentors?
Oh, there's a lot of people that helped me get to where I am now, and they've all have taught different types of things, because
Okay.
it's all not all music related. So, for example, um, my my one of my undergraduate jazz professors,
Hmm.
I think, taught me how to communicate with people and be able
Okay.
to engage with people. Um,
Okay.
my undergraduate glee club conductor taught me how to break things down for the non-music major,
Okay.
or break things down for the middle school, high school kid,
Okay.
elementary school kid. I had no
Okay.
idea I had no idea I was learning that when I was in glee club,
Okay.
but he was teaching those things. Um, my my master's professor, major professor, taught me that it's about evolution instead of revolution, and
Hmm.
taught me the importance of patience when it comes to students, when it comes to engaging with faculty. Um,
Hmm.
my my doctoral major professor taught me the importance of being a global administrator, and
Mm.
how to and really how to bring different systems together to be
Okay.
underneath one umbrella, and
Okay.
to know when to push and when not to push.
Hmm.
But also taught me the importance of being, two of my professors taught teaching me the importance of not necessarily balance, but having a, as my spouse would say, a mosaic, where
Hmm.
you don't feel like you have to balance your personal life and your professional life, because it's all one. It's all encompassing of each other, but
Hmm.
just creating a mosaic
Hmm.
instead of trying to figure out this whole balance thing, because the balance thing really is obsolete,
Hmm.
and
Yeah.
you would get yourself in trouble trying to figure out how to balance.
Right. Right.
You
Okay.
know, so when it comes to my mentors,
Hmm.
it's not necessarily music related, and it's not about conducting. It's not about the having a certain ear to fine tune, but it's
Hmm.
more about student development, personal development, um, lifelong wellness,
Hmm.
all those things that help make a journey like this much more palatable.
Yeah. Learning how to become a good human being. Imagine that. Yeah. Well, that you know what that's good that you. I like the way that you broke it down as far as um, the different parts of your life, different times of your life, and how these people brought their own characteristics to help you become a better person, and just how you are applying it of you being an educator as far as educating other people.
Hmm. Oh yes,
So,
and it's really one of those things where you end up creating the best version of you, or at least a better version of you.
hmm.
Um, it's like a buffet in a way, but
Hmm.
also when those things happen, I know that a lot of people have different um, faiths of a belief and all, but with me, as long as it's getting closer to the purpose that God has for me
Hmm.
within all of those things, I think that's great, because I don't think I would have learned those things or thought about those things if it wasn't Him um, showing me that those are characteristics that I need to learn, or I need to further develop.
Yep. Yeah, that very well said. How do you approach mentorship for underrepresented students in music?
Yeah, so I am very fortunate that I teach at a university where, what is it, 48% is considered minority.
Okay.
So it's a HSI, Hispanic Serving Institution,
Hmm.
and so our campus is just a walking um, a walking representation of what the world looks like.
Mm-hmm.
So now the only difference is that it might not always look like that from what professors look like, but as
Hmm.
far as what students look like, it is that. So when it comes to all of our students, one, I try to make sure that all of our students are treated the same way that helps them as individuals
Hmm.
become the best version of who they're supposed to be. But then two, when it comes to students are um, who come from different backgrounds, different faiths, different ethnicities, and all, I just try to make sure that, one, there's always an open door. Two, if there are certain things that I notice that I might have either experienced, or something that I think that will help them become a better version of who they're supposed to be, or a
Hmm.
representation of who they're supposed to be,
Hmm.
I try to have some of those conversations, sometimes in a direct way, sometimes in an indirect way. And I
Mm-hmm.
also think that me sharing stories and being a little more open
Mm-hmm.
helps in some of those ways as well. So
Mm-hmm.
because the thing that I've noticed is that a lot of people when they come into the college university setting, they're they don't know who or what they're supposed to be. They they think that they're supposed to be a certain way because of either what their family has told them or because of what has been portrayed of them.
Mm-hmm.
But I know for me, all I can do is be who I'm supposed to be. And
Mm-hmm.
sometimes that doesn't always, whatever people think that I'm supposed to be, doesn't always either doesn't resonate or they didn't think that that was what they thought I would be.
Mm-hmm.
So for example, um, I would say there's a lot of people in society that would say that I don't act black.
Haven't heard that before. Right.
so um so when there are minority students or students just from different backgrounds come in, and if they have a perceived ideal of what that's supposed to be, but me just being me, hopefully that just allows them to be them
I'll be so
without
glad when that day happens. Yeah, I'll just be so glad when that day happens. To just people let people be themselves. It's not you know, a black person's experience is their experience.
Mhm.
It, yeah, people just make things so much more complicated than what it needs to be. Because I just
Oh
feel
yes.
like if if I'm not trying to purposely harm you because you are black, being a black man, then my experience is going to be my experience, and yours is going to be your experience, and there will be some similarities. Um, whatever it is that it may be in life, but that's what it is. We can share those moments that might be similar because we are black. It doesn't have to be a thing of like, well, you're not acting black, and you're speaking a certain way. It's like, yeah, okay, whatever.
Oh, exactly. Exactly. which which for me, that's my hope, is just to be, so then students are able to be, faculty are able to be,
Hmm.
and in my role as associate director for the school, I have to think about that even more,
Hmm.
helping faculty become the best version of who they're supposed to be through whatever their lens is,
Hmm.
and for them not to act a certain type of way because they think that's what professors should act like.
Hmm.
You know.
Yeah. How do you help prepare your students for after they graduate? So now we're getting ready to go into the real world, get this job as a music educator. How are you preparing them?
So I am really honest with them. I'm honest with them, and I'm also honest with their parents. I
Hmm.
tell them that when they turn 18, they're not an adult. They are 0 years old in adulthood. They just was birthed.
Uh, okay.
They were just birthed. And I tell them that because they think that they have this freedom,
Hmm.
this newfound freedom, that they can just go and explore and do every single thing. But I need them to understand that they have mastered being children. They have
Hmm.
spent 17 years and 364 days technically as a child. So
Hmm.
they've had to learn to do childlike things for so long. My job is to, over the course of 4 years or 5 years, help change that mindset
Okay.
and give them a foundation on what adulthood looks like. The vehicle that we do that through is music.
Okay.
So, how do we engage with the world when the world expects you to be this? this professional, but we still have childlike thinking,
Mm-hmm.
childlike mannerisms, childlike
Mm-hmm.
behavior. Uh, so the way I go about helping students with that is by giving them different situations, by giving them certain operations, giving them certain types of leadership opportunities, giving them certain types of leadership programs
Mm-hmm.
that they can be part of that will help them switch that mindset. So by the time they get to their senior year, we're seeing some mature toddlers walking around here.
Okay. I
So
have to remember that next time I see my former students. That'll be funny.
so um, yes, we train train them within the rehearsals with being highly engaged, with us having different types of programming that is going to have an impact on the crowds that go to games or that go to concerts. Yes, all of those things. But at the end of the day, at least for me, it's all about helping people become the best version of who they're supposed to be.
Mm-hmm.
And but a part of that is helping them understand that in order for them to become the best version of who they're supposed to be, by opening opportunities for them and opening their thinking to knowing that there's a lot to learn, there's a lot to take in,
Mm-hmm.
and I will allow you to have space to learn, have space to develop, have space to grow the way you feel like that you need to grow.
Okay, that's good. That's really good. What excites you about the future of your band program or just band programs in general?
I think there's a lot of things that are going on. I think that as we go over these next 10 years, students
Hmm.
are more advanced musicians than they've ever have been
Okay.
coming into college, and that is all because of what our elementary, middle school, and high school directors are doing.
Hmm.
Regardless if it's an orchestra director, choir director, band
Hmm.
mariachi band director,
Hmm.
ukulele band director. Um, they have just done so much to help advance the way students are. So much to where it allows us to push the envelope.
Hmm.
And the great thing about that is that with them having these different types of experiences in elementary school, middle school, high school, and in college, when they graduate and move on to whatever that they decide to go into, they're be, they're able to continue to be consumers of music. They're able
Hmm.
to be able to support the orchestra concerts that might be happening in their local community. They're able
Hmm.
to support by being on local arts boards and be a board of directors.
Hmm.
They're able to go and give significant donations um, to different music organizations or even back to the program. So
Hmm.
so it's really exciting to see the engagement that students are having with their programs, even
Okay.
if they're going to be a chemical engineer, even if they're going to be on the next, at least for us, those aerospace engineers and working for Lockheed Martin and all of
Okay.
those different types.
Hmm.
Um, so on the music side, I think that excites me is the way students are perceiving what they hear. I think students are, since we're in a society that has a lot of different types of musical influences, they're able to hear a lot more music, and they're plugged into music much more than they ever have been.
Okay.
Much more than I was when I was a kid. When I was a kid, if I wanted to hear classical music, I would have to subscribe to Time Life and get the Classical Thunder series.
Oh, I remember those days. Yep.
And
Columbia House.
Yep, Columbia. Yes. You don't know what three CDs are going to come.
That was exciting days, man. Exciting.
Oh yes. Hmm.
Yeah.
So the fact that students have that at their fingertips it allows us to be able to do a lot more with them. The different
Hmm.
types of projects we're able to engage with
Hmm.
that center around inclusive excellence, I think is great. I think for our programs, each of our ensembles offers the students a unique experience to where it doesn't feel like that somebody is in a top tier ensemble versus a low tier ensemble. Each
Okay.
ensemble is unique in itself
Okay.
to where everybody can feel like they're part of a vibrant community.
Okay. That's good. Um, can you talk about your research of Ulysses S.K. and what inspired your research on that? 'Cause I had no idea, and so I looked him up, and I thought, "Oh, this is cool." I'm a black person. I can Black history in my own classroom.
Hmm. Oh yes, yeah. It's so fascinating that Ulysses K. He was probably one of the most uh, unrecognized African American composers of the 20th century, but
Mm,
probably one of the most influential composers of the 20th century.
okay.
Because of everything that he did, there's arguments that he actually wrote the first wind band piece. You can make the argument
Okay.
first wind band piece by an African American composer.
Okay.
So, and even going back before that, um, possibly even the first wind band piece, because back in the 1930s, um, yeah, you had all these different types of pieces that were written by European composers,
Mm,
but not as much by an actual American composer too. Um, so I mean, so there's different arguments for that. He he did a lot in the orchestra world,
okay.
and while he was in the orchestra world, he studied with people that we hear about all the time: Bernard Rogers, Paul Hindemith,
Okay.
um, and because of that, he has such a unique style of writing. So
Hmm.
it just so happened that he wrote six pieces for wind band, and 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 he wrote one of those pieces when he won a Prix de Rome. So
Okay.
he's won two Prix de Romes. I think one of very very few people that have won two of those to be able to
Okay.
go study um, in Rome. But he's written six pieces for wind band, and they weren't and those pieces hadn't been studied at all
Okay.
in any great length. So my research centered around bringing those six pieces to life.
Okay.
Um, so four of those pieces we were able to get recorded, and we're able to, and I think, yeah, we were able to get recorded, but all six, I believe, end up being in the final project. So
Okay.
so those six pieces are more of a conductor study.
Okay.
So if a person wanted to program those works, these are the things that you would listen for. These are the things that you would look for within the score. This is
Hmm.
his way of writing. This is what to expect if you decide to program it. So
Okay.
so we're very fortunate that that research was 10 years ago, 10, 11 years ago,
Hmm.
and still even today there are people that would email and ask questions about Ulysses K and his band writing, and I think it's and that along with one of my other colleagues doing research on James Reese Europe,
Yeah.
um, us two doing that, I think allowed us to start a wave of um, of just looking at pieces by underrepresented populations. quite a
Mm-hmm.
bit, 10 years ago. And it's great that that is continuing on, um,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
in different facets, whether
Mm-hmm.
it's African American composers or Hispanic composers, or whether they are Asian American composers. Just, I mean, just all types of music now, I think
Mm-hmm.
has come out of that.
I literally just watched a movie on Netflix, The Harlem Hellfighters, and James Reese Europe came up in there. I'm reading. I read a book about him maybe about a few months ago, and then I'm currently reading a book of the interaction we had with James. It was James Reese Europe, Milton Sissel. It's kind of the start of Broadway and just black musicians during that time, World War One,
Oh
and
yes.
things like that. And it's really interesting. So yeah,
Hmm. Oh, it's
yeah.
very fascinating. It's a history that I hope is never forgotten,
Hmm. Hmm.
and I hope it's something that within the next generation of music scholars, they can continue to look at that as a very important piece in the development of the
Hmm.
musician,
Yep. Yeah.
especially the classically trained musician.
Yeah. What are you most proud of as an educator?
I think for me, I don't say that I'm necessarily proud of anything. I would say that just been really excited that I've been able to have some type of impact on helping students become the best version of who they're supposed to be. Students
Hmm.
and faculty
Hmm.
and staff, because that is what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to make this world a better place. We're supposed to take the little pond that we live in
Hmm.
and cultivate it.
Hmm.
We're supposed to take the land and turn it into something that's good and something that that is plentiful, to
Hmm.
where people are able to go and harvest
Hmm.
from that land. And so, so me being proud of what I'm most proud of is, if there is such a thing, would be me having that type of mindset and me
Okay.
wanting to leave a place better than I found it.
Okay. That's good. That's great. When you are recruiting students, what are some qualities that you look for that you want like in your program?
Uh, I think, students that have a great work ethic,
Hmm.
students who want to become the best version of who they want to be, a student who is open to ideas, student who will go with the sometimes will go with emotions and go with the flow.
Hmm.
Um, a student who is able to understand that not everything is going to be perfect, but through the imperfection is the growth, and
Hmm.
through the imperfection is the um, that's when we go through the different things
Hmm.
that's needed in order
Hmm.
to understand the world that we live in and understand the what we need to be. um, we also look for students who are academically able to go through whatever rigor
Hmm.
that they need to go through, and know that it's okay to get a B
Yeah.
every now and then. And sometimes that B in that one course is going to help them so much more than earning an A in that other course that might have been a little easier.
Yep. Um, yeah, I think sometimes we need to let the parents need to understand that too. So it's okay to
Oh
get.
yes.
Um, what advice would you give an aspiring band director or music teacher?
Yeah, I would say if I was to give any type of parting advice before the end of this, is one, make sure that you're enjoying what you're doing.
Hmm.
I think that in order to be in this profession, it really is I wouldn't say as a calling, but it's not a job.
Okay.
And as long as you can think of it as as this being your hobby, or as this being an extension of who you are, I think people are gonna have a better experience.
Okay.
I think the second that we think of it as a job and think of it as a checklist, that is when we get into issues, and that's when
Okay.
we start to compare one job versus another. When this is really isn't a job, this is a people building business. This
Mm-hmm.
is a we're here not just to make music,
Mm-hmm.
or I mean, and I would be honest, there are some times when there's some elementary school concerts and middle school band concerts where it does not sound like making music. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so we're not necessarily here. It's not about making music as it is about helping cultivate people, helping people become whatever that they desire to be, and being part of that, helping parents too
Mm-hmm.
with that. We
Okay.
are sometimes we are going to see these kids in middle school and high school much more than their parents are going to see them,
Yep.
due to trips that we're on, due to extra rehearsals that might be had. So,
Mm-hmm.
not that we're trying to be the moral fiber for for our students, but we're to help them identify what that's supposed to be for themselves.
Right. Yep. Okay. Yeah, that's good. Um, if you weren't in music education, it's gonna be funny. If you weren't in music education, what career would you be?
This is what- oh goodness, there are so
You did
many.
have several going on through your career. Experience.
Yep, there are so many different things that I probably could do, and probably would have a lot of fun in, but I don't know if it would be rewarding as much
Mhm.
as this has been, or even been the calling that God has chosen me to be in,
Mhm.
at this point.
Mhm.
So, I mean, everything from being involved in business to working on Wall Street
Mhm.
to um, being a history teacher
Mhm.
to, I mean, I think there's so many different types of places, and I also think that even as I move forward, um, there's still that I think that calling for upper administration. So,
Mhm.
I mean, I say that now, but I'll probably get into it, and then God will say, "Nah, I think you should continue to teach." So,
And you get knocked right back into the music track. Just not learning your lesson, hard headed.
exactly.
um, if you could have dinner with any composer or musician, past, present, um, dead or alive, who would that person or be?
Oh, probably because of the research I've done with him, probably Ulysses K.
Okay.
So I would because I got a chance to talk with his daughter when I was doing
Okay.
research, and she would talk about how she would just talk about some of his personality, and I
Hmm.
think it would be a very unique personality to engage with. Um,
Okay.
one of those types of people where I think even if today's if today's conductor was to engage with him, especially other African American conductors,
Hmm.
I I I have this feeling that people will come out their shell even more just to be themselves.
Okay. Okay. Um, and what is next for you? Upcoming projects, presentations, lectures.
Mm. Yeah, so right now, the biggest thing is our director of bands is going on sabbatical. Is on
Okay.
sabbatical this fall. So, so part of my job is taking care of the classes that he would have. So, taking care of the wind ensemble, taking care of the graduate conducting students we have in those seminar classes.
Okay.
Um, that's really on the forefront of my mind right now.
Hmm.
Also, um, as I continue to go in this academic journey, um, of course, continuing to do more research and creative activity with taking care of honor bands. Also, like for instance, this November I'm doing the Nebraska All State Band.
Okay.
Um, So we be working with them, and then
Hmm.
also there's a um, thing with Disney that I have to do next March. So working with Disney
Okay.
on that particular project, um, and also continue to do the work I do with National Band Association,
Hmm.
and a few of the things with CBDNA.
Hmm.
So there's lots of projects that are in the queue right now that we're
Okay.
trying to take care of, and also a lot of projects within the athletic band program
Okay.
too. So we just finished a trip to Ireland a year ago. Um, so there's a few things where we're looking to do here over these next couple of years,
Okay.
with different types of performance opportunities that have come up, and
Hmm.
we've been very blessed to have significant opportunities,
Okay.
these past few years that we want to continue to move forward in as well.
How was Ireland? That's one place I would like to go visit.
Our students had a good time.
Okay.
They enjoyed marching in the St. Patrick's Day parade.
Okay.
Uh, they really enjoyed the culture of
Hmm.
Ireland and being able to see different parts of Ireland.
Hmm.
Um, I think they really, and some of them realize that some of their heritage has come from
Hmm.
that part of the world. So them being able to see,
Hmm.
those aspects were really good for them.
Okay.
Um, and also, being able to see just so much greenery,
Yeah.
in Ireland compared to here in Florida was definitely fantastic for them. They loved it.
Okay. Okay. And then the last question: what do you do in your free time, and what brings you joy?
Let's see. I really do think that this whole, like, the personal life and the professional life, it really is one big mosaic.
Hmm.
So it all ties into one.
Hmm.
So my free time often involves whether possible score study or trips
Hmm.
that pertains to this,
Hmm.
or even a little bit of free time with trips. My family and I, we enjoy traveling, so whenever we get the opportunity, we would travel somewhere, whether it's business related or not.
Okay.
Um, so it's so we will take, pretty much almost every most trips we
Hmm.
will that we take when it's music related, they will go with me, um,
Okay.
so they're able to experience that. So I would say, for me, to answer your question, if I really had to answer the question outside of saying that life is one big mosaic,
Uh-huh.
I would say probably reading,
Okay.
traveling. I
Hmm.
enjoy working out. I love going on long jogs.
Hmm.
So I'm trying to get ready for another half marathon. Um,
Bless you. Okay.
you know, you know, so so it's those types of things.
Okay. What type of books do you read?
Most time they're leadership books or motivational books.
Okay.
Most of the time. So
Okay.
it's really ways just to help others and help myself. And then, of course, I mean, I read the Bible, um,
Okay.
and it's rare. I can't remember the last fiction book I've ever read.
Okay. Okay.
If that tells you anything.
Yeah.
So
It's all good.
I
You
mean,
know.
I mean, most of my books over here is about, yeah, teaching like a champion, teaching with purpose. A few leadership books over here as well.
Hmm.
Um, oh yes, all of that.
Okay. Well, I really appreciate you taking the time, like I said, out of your day, um, to do this. This is so rewarding for me to hear people's stories, to hear what their origin story, the track, how they got in all that kind of stuff. This is what helps me because before COVID, I was just burned out. COVID happened. It's like, well, everybody else has a podcast. So why don't I just start a podcast on something that I like? Because there are so many podcasts people should not be talking. But, that's another
Hmm.
story. um, but you know, I want to hear what it is that Black people are doing, people of color are doing in the fine arts. Because as much as the world is trying to tell us that we're not doing anything, clearly that is not true.
Exactly.
So,
Oh yes, we're all trying to make the area that we're in is a much better place
hmm
through the lens that has been given to us,
yeah, and I'm all
and
about
people
inspiring,
need to know about that.
uplifting, and educating. So, yeah. Um, so this has been another great episode of Melanated Artist in Performance. Today I spoke with Dr. Tremon Kizer from the University of Central Florida. Everyone, please make sure that you like, share, and subscribe, and stay tuned for another great episode of Melanated Artist in Performance. Thank you, guys.